Hey, what's good guys? It's Afro here from Afro Chibi Champs, and today we're going to talk about how to create a balanced TCG. I've had a few people ask me, so I figured I'd do a nice little video on how I kind of balanced my game and how you could too. So if you're ready, let's go. Okay, so kicking things off, I'd easily say this might be the most important tip I want to give you. There's 5 tips altogether. This is number 1, and this is knowing your game. So for example, what do you want to achieve? Like how many, what's the winning conditions, and finding out kind of the kind of cards you want to have in the game in general. So like when you first envisioned your game, obviously you tend to picture the strongest thing ever, but knowing your game really helps. So take your time to dive into the lore of things and dive into the ideas that you have, and then from there, that's when you can start to implement a bit more scope, a bit more detail, and hone things in with your cards. Okay, so this one, I'd definitely say the second tip I would give is ratio estimate. And what I mean by that is kind of like knowing what highest value a card could go up to. So for example, maybe a monster or warrior card, or in my case, an Afro Chibi. What's their highest stats that they could go to for your set? And then also on the flip side, what is the lowest you would want that monster or card, a card to have? So definitely knowing your highest and lowest. For example, in my game, if I can get this out, should have been much more prepared than this. So yeah, like in my game, the highest stats is 500 by 500, being that guy. And my lowest stats, or one of the lowest, would be Fat Boss, which is 10 attack and 20 HP. So knowing that they can go to from 10 all the way up to 500 was my kind of ratio estimates. And yeah, being sure about that kind of helps, and also knowing how many you want within that kind of space. All right, so tip number 3 is definitely play testing. And I'm talking play testing, because in the game, you might not fully understand, or on paper it makes complete sense to you, but when you actually play the game and you get really involved and you have different people playing and testing out the game, you'll find out what works and you'll find out what doesn't work in terms of balancing your cards. So your resource cards, any trap cards that you have, like some might just be insanely too powerful, and on paper it sounded very interesting and good, but after play testing, you find out that, oh my gosh, like, what have I done? I think I've spoiled the game. So not like when you play test, you do find out a lot of stuff like that. Doing a lot of mass play testing really helps you find balance in your game. All right, so the next tip I want to give you links with play testing. It's not being scared to alter cards and weighing things up. So like I mentioned, after playtesting and going playing a lot of games with different people, and everyone has their own kind of flavor and their favorite cards, you're gonna not be afraid to kind of change their stats. For example, let's say Billy J might have been kind of higher in stats. In fact, one that I know definitely was changed from playtesting, where are you, is Kid Sasfro. Very strong power 1 in my game, but what I found was, because his HP was higher than 50, it made him kind of like worthy of being more of a power 2, even though power 1s and 2s are supposed to be quite similar and quite close in stats, so it kind of adds a bit more dynamics to the game. I also wanted more opportunities for other cards to defeat Kid Sasfro, so having HP 50 gave other characters the opportunity to kind of take him out. So yeah, so not being afraid to change the stats of things, and not being afraid to just completely flip the script a bit and weighing it all up. Because at the end of the day, you just want it to be a fair, balanced game. Okay, so the last tip I want to give you is don't go crazy with abilities, because if you are planning to do this for the long run and you're aiming to, you know, do more than one set, especially in set one, you don't want to kind of bombard the game with 100 warriors, 100 cards, 100 monsters, and half of them have abilities. Because it kind of changes your impression of the game in every match, where you think you grasp it, and then because of an ability that changes it completely, it throws you off script. So to newcomers, it can be quite daunting and scaring from actually trying out your game. Let me break this down. For me, I have 50 Afro Chibi cards, so they're like my equivalents to monster cards. So yeah, you have 10. So I've got 10 here with abilities, and they're all from different levels. Try to flip it up where, for example, these stats are quite terrible, but the ability alone kind of makes you want to use this card a bit more. Vice versa, decent power 1 in general, but using his ability really makes it a stronger card, so making it a rare kind of clarifies its kind of potential for being a great card as well. And then like super rare is a 7, because her ability is a super rare, not necessarily the stats. Stats are fair, having a nice contrast with low HP, so a lot more people can attack you, and you having a strong attack, it's a nice fair balance. And then the ability pushes people back, so very, very unique card in my game, and very good in general, so that's why it's deemed a super rare. And yeah, so on and so forth, you get the idea of that. So now, if you do have a bunch of other cards with specific rules or specific niches, or you know, just something that's different to your game, which kind of needs an explanation, then for me, I turned that into rule cards. So I didn't want it to have its own ability, I wanted to have rule cards. So rules added to the card, sorry. So for example, it tells you what this one does, it's a specific thing it does. Power zeros are free plays in the game, so it just tells you that you can bring them in straight away for free without a cost. And things like when you attack multiple times, it's got 60 times, but it's good that it explains that you roll twice, because there'll be some cards in the future that roll 3 times or 4 times. And then, like I say, specific to each card, may have a rule to just check. Okay, so keeping that in mind as well brings a lot of balance into your game. Okay. So there you have it, guys. I really hope this helped you and answer some questions that you may have had. If you do have any more questions, please comment down below, let me know. And if you did enjoy this video, just let me know, because it'll be nice to do some more tip videos. This is probably my first one I've done on this channel. So yeah, if it did help, please let me know. And yeah, please check out my next video that I'll be hitting you up with tomorrow. As you know, I'm doing a 30-day challenge. So yeah, if you can support, please support. I will see you guys tomorrow. Peace.